Right, what's going on, people? We're in Roadmap here, and today we're going to talk about Figueroa versus Fulton, the rematch. We're going to do a pre-fight analysis of it, and we're going to review the fight between Fulton versus Castro to do this. Now, I understand that there is a chance that Figueroa will be turning or will be switching southpaw throughout the fight. However, if we see the first fight, he mostly did orthodox, and that seemed to work better for him. Okay, so we're going to assume that Figueroa will be using the same game plan for this one. He's going to stick to the orthodox stance a little bit more, and for that reason, we're using the fight between Castro and Figueroa. Or Castro and Fulton, I should say. So let's first start with the jab. A lot of times, what we see with Fulton, he's so used to like out-jabbing people to where whenever he fights someone longer and whenever he fights someone who's just as active with the jab as him, he gets beat to the spot. As you can see here, he gets, boom, countered with a jab of his opponent whenever he stays at the center. And then there, he does that again, okay? Sometimes he doesn't see it coming, sometimes it parries just a tad bit late, and that allows his opponent to land the jab right down the center, okay? And this is gonna be a good tool for Figueroa to use in their rematch, especially that Figueroa is a little bit longer than Fulton, and he's got a pretty good jab as well. A lot of people overlook the jab of Figueroa. Okay, so the next thing we'll see with Fulton is going to be his difficulty in defending that double jab, which is something that Figueroa likes to do a lot. He likes to double up on the jab, triple up on the jab in order to set up his long uppercuts and his body shots as well. So let's first look at this one. What we see a lot with Fulton is sometimes he defends that first jab pretty well. He tends to parry it, he tends to pull back, he tends to slip. But when it comes to that second jab, he gets timed a lot. Okay, so as you can see there, he defends that first jab with a parry. But the second jab, boom, he gets hit with it. And then there's a third jab as well. And then here you're going to see him defend that first jab, I think. So 2-1 here, or 2-5, more of an uppercut right there, more of an uppercut. And then he bends at the waist. But then he gets caught right there with the jab first, and then another jab. Boom, another jab right there, another jab right there, and then another jab. It's just the timing. He gets timed a lot with the jab because he's used to like out-jabbing his opponent sometimes, to where whenever he fights someone who's just as active with the jab, again, he gets hit with that second jab, or he gets timed with multiple jabs, okay? So here he's going to try to slip, or he's going to try to pull back. Boom, and notice what he does here. He expects the right hand to come. So he raises that left hand, but that's not what happens. What happens is Castro follows up with a second jab. So now let's look at the liver shot, which is something that he likes to do a lot whenever he gets on that front leg. So here, he's going to start off on the back leg, boom, and then he leans on that front leg. So back leg, front leg, he finds that body shot. He likes to do that liver shot a lot of times. And that's going to be a useful tool against a guy like Figueroa. However, it might reinforce some inside fighting when it comes to fighting in close range, or when it comes to fighting the type of fight that Figueroa likes. Alright, so the next thing we'll see with Fulton is going to be that body shot. Whenever he leans on that front leg with like a crouch or with a slip, a tiny slip on our front leg, he tends to find that liver pretty well, and that's going to serve him well against a guy like Fulton. He's going to help him slow it's going to help him slow Figueroa down a little bit. And so we should expect some body shots from Fulton, some more liver shots, because he's not really gifted with a lot of power, but he knows how to place his punches pretty well at certain times. So the next thing we'll see is going to be that right hand lean that he does. So whenever he overcommits on that right hand, what we're going to see is he's going to lean forward, and then he's gonna stay there for a pretty good while, because sometimes he uses it to like wait for a split second and then he throws a left hook from that front leg. However, when he doesn't, as you can see here, he stays there pretty long, and then boom, he gets caught right here with a 1-2. He planted his feet pretty long, and then he got caught off guard because of that. So we're going to see that same mistake here. Again, overcommitting. He does that shift that Golovkin does a lot of times. He throws a right hand, and then he switches or he squares up, and then he smothers himself in the process. And then again, here he's going to throw that right hand. He's going to lean forward, smother on that rear shoulder of his opponent, but then he doesn't really get anywhere there. Now, in the previous fight, we've seen that, yes, Fulton can do catch and shoot. However, in terms of volume, Figueroa is much better on the inside than Figueroa, or than Fulton. They're both F, so I keep on messing it up. However, when it comes to like inside fighting, this is gonna be a tricky one because in terms of quality of shots, Fulton prevailed in the last fight. But when it comes to volume, Figueroa did a lot more, alright? And we've seen more offense from Fulton in the past few fights. But the impact of the Inoue fight is also gonna play a big role. Did that affect him in the sense that he's not gonna be as offensive for this fight? We don't really know. So that's something that we have to look forward to. However, the right hand lead, it can serve him in two ways. Number one, Figueroa can initiate inside fighting, and he can use it to counter Fulton. And number two, Fulton can use it to initiate his inside or to set up his short punches on the inside as well. He can do a smother and throw and then get out. So we're gonna have to see, man. We're gonna have to see how that plays out. Now, the next thing we'll see is gonna be that high block. So as you can see here, he likes to block a lot of times. And he blocks it super high to the point where he leaves his body open. And this is going to be dangerous against a great body puncher like Figueroa whenever he does this. So one thing that Figueroa can do a lot is set up or spam hooks on the head of Fulton to where he gets messed up when it comes to his weight transfers. And then he blocks too high on the top of his head so that he can open up that body, or he can open up the sides of the body of Fulton. And in that regard, or in that way, he's going to be able to set up those body shots. Same thing right here, when we can see him blocking it too high. So it can serve in two purposes. Number one, when you block too high, or when Fulton blocks too high, he turns his body all the way to that side. So it blinds the center. So Fulton can use that, or Figueroa can use that to hit Fulton on the center. And then secondly, it also opens up the sides of the body and of course the center, the stomach, or the solar plexus. So this is gonna be a great defensive flaw that once again Figueroa can exploit for this particular fight. Now let's get right into my prediction. I do think that Fulton still got enough to make it a close fight. He's still got those great counter punches. He's still got those sneaky body shots. He still has some solid fundamentals. However, I think he hasn't been the same since the Inoue fight. The jabs aren't there no more. He still does have the counter punches, but for this fight, I'm going to root for Figueroa via decision. I can see him overwhelming Fulton at some point, but I don't really see him knocking him out. Okay, I think Fulton still has great resiliency unless he gets hit with like a barrage of punches and then he doesn't throw anything back. So that was it. That's my prediction for this fight. Decision, unanimous, ideally for Figueroa. Subscribe if you're new and join my Patreon if you want to. I'll see you guys soon.